Welcome back to Tobetolga. Today's video is not a vlog, it's an home cooking video. Since you're stuck at home and don't know what to do, I will show you how to make the best homemade pizza possible. Since we are making the pizza from scratch, I will show you how to make a really good dinkel dough, then how to make the best pizza sauce with just a few ingredients, and then I will show you which combination of cheese is the best for a really good Italian pizza. Okay, let's start by making a wonderful dough. What you need is 500 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of salt, a little bit of yeast, 5 grams, maybe 10 grams are enough. You could also use dry yeast, but for today I will use normal yeast. And 300 milliliters of warm water. Now, take a small container, put the warm water into the small container, and then your yeast. I can also recommend using a little bit of sugar. Just a little bit, not so much, like half a teaspoon, maybe 1 teaspoon. Yeast is like kinda a bacteria and it's eating the sugar, so it's going to grow. You want the yeast to be as much dissolved as possible. After dissolving the yeast, you will put it somewhere else and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now it's time for the flour and the salt. What you need is a big bowl and 500 grams of flour. But it's not just any flour. I have nothing to measure, so I hope this is like 500 grams. And 2 tablespoons of salt. The importance is that your flour has at least 12 grams of protein. I can recommend type 00, that's Italian flour, that's the best flour that you can get for pizza. But for today, like I said, dinkel flour, because I don't eat wheat. It's not that healthy. Now what you should do is just distribute the salt with your hands so that it gets mixed with the flour. Now while I'm waiting for the yeast to eat the sugar, I will talk about the ingredients that we will use to make the best sauce possible. What you will need is like a glass of tomato puree, then concentrated tomato, an onion, garlic, oregano. And I will use a blend from Lidl, which is called like pizza blend. It's just a combination of like certain spices that will fit into the pizza sauce. The importance is that I will cook the sauce, because the sauce has to be cooked to be perfect. If you use normal tomato puree without cooking it, I will guarantee you that the sauce is not going to taste that well. If the sauce is good enough, you don't even need cheese. I made a lot of vegan pizzas and I can really recommend them if the sauce is perfect. Now it's time to prepare our ingredients for the sauce. Let's start cutting our ingredients. First, the garlic. Just smash it with your knife and then mince it really finely. Now this looks fine enough for me. I will put this into a small bowl. It's time to prepare the onion. Just chop the onion really fine. Our ingredients are prepared. We have our garlic and our onions. And now we will go back to the dough. Take your bowl with your mix of salt and flour and put your yeast water mix directly into the bowl. Now take a big spoon and just gently mix the water flour mixture in your bowl. Look how beautiful this looks. Funny thing, originally I wanted to make a vlog for today, but my sister insisted that I make a cooking video, which is why I decided to make a pizza. Now I had to put a little bit more flour into the mix, since I didn't measure anything. It was a risk that I took, but in the end it doesn't matter as long as the pizza tastes wonderful. Now this mixture looks ready. We will put it on the plate now. And then we will put some force to make it a lot more smoother than it is right now. It already started to be really sticky, but that's okay. We will just put the rest of the flour onto the board and then start to work the dough. Just fold it into itself and make it smooth. I just remembered that you could also use a machine, but if you're a machine yourself, you don't need one. The folding technique goes like this. You put your dough on the plate, you stretch it, you fold it, and you push it. Stretch, fold, push. Stretch, fold, push. It's not that hard. You just have to put some work into it, and the amount of strength that you put into every step has to be equal, which means you have to stretch as much as you push and you have to fold as fast as you push. This way the dough is not going to stick on the table and you don't need any extra flour. For beginners I recommend using oil. This way you can get out of this sticky situation, or you could just use a machine. Now you know that your dough is ready when you stretch it and it doesn't get broken like this. It has to be really stretchy. I can also recommend thinking about a person that you hate or don't like, and then put the anger that dwells in you directly into the dough. This way the person that you don't like helps you somehow. And that's the beauty, right? Making the best out of every situation. Now the dough is ready. Look how stretchy this is. This is just beautiful. Now we will make this dough into little balls by first stretching it into the outside like this to make it as smooth in the outside surface as possible, and then we will cut it in half like this and then cut it again so that we get 4 balls. Just roll them in your hands into little balls, roll it, fold it, and then push it. Look how pretty this is. This looks wonderful. This is just perfect. Now take a clean surface and put a little bit of oil onto it, just a little bit, and then put some oil onto the balls. Now take a towel or any paper towel at all, then just put something over your dough and put them aside for at least half an hour. Now we have to wait till the dough is ready, and until then we will make our delicious sauce. Before we start, don't forget preheating your oven on the maximum temperature and preheat it for at least 20 minutes. I would say better are 30 minutes. Now take a little pot big enough that your delicious sauce can fit into it and put a little bit of oil into it, just a little bit, to cover the surface. Then you will heat the olive oil to just about 60% of maximum temperature, because we don't want to kill the oil. It gets cancerous after a certain amount of temperature, so keep that in mind. Olive oil never too hot. We start by putting the onions into the bowl. Just put the whole thing. It smells so delicious. Just let them dissolve a little bit, and also just throw everything into it. Also the garlic in the end, doesn't matter. You don't want to cook the onions too much, because they should be soft and almost getting brown, but not caramelized. We just want them to be as soft as possible so that they give as much fragrance as possible into our sauce. The sauce is good enough to be used as a soup if you put a little bit of water into it, or you can also use it as a delicious pasta sauce. It also tastes amazing on bread with a little bit of Parmigiano cheese, just perfect. Now this looks much more like it. Now look at this. This looks just beautiful. This is the point where you want to put your tomato puree into your pot. Just take the whole bottle, open it. If you can't open it, put a man or a woman to your side who can open it for you. Just put the whole thing into it. If you're a wine drinker, I can also recommend using wine at this point to get a little bit of extra flavor into it. But since it's Ramadan and my mom is also going to eat this sauce, even if the alcohol is going to evaporate while cooking with wine, I will not use it, but you can use it because it's delicious in cooking. Now, put the stuff into it, just the whole thing, and then start stirring. Very important, because the sauce is so thick that it can't react like normal water. When you wait too long, it will create bubbles who explode and splash your whole kitchen into chaos. Now, while the sauce is cooking, I can already put the spices into it. First, we start with oregano. Beautiful. Just put a whole load into it. And then use the tomato concentration. Just put big loads, like 1/3 of a whole tube. That's like 60 grams. Fuck! Fuck! That's what I meant by not stirring fast enough. You will burn yourself like I did right now. Fuck! Just stir. It's really important. But I think the heat is now high enough to put it on a low heat. Let's put the delicious sauce aside and put the rest of our blends into it. Like I said, I will use this pizza blend from Lidl. I'm stoked to use it since I'm normally using a mixture of basilicum, oregano, thymian, like all the stuff. Just put a big load of it into it. Yeah, this looks good. What's missing at this point is only salt and pepper, and then the sauce is ready and we can make our delicious pizza. This is not bad. It's not bad, but it's missing a lot of spices. Just put as much as you like. I like my sauce really strong, like my woman, but you don't have to if you don't want to. That's just perfect. Look at this sauce. This looks just beautiful. Oh, and it smells so good. Like I said, you can use this sauce for almost everything, and since the tomato puree came with a glass bottle, you can put your sauce directly into the bottle. Now you have a delicious tomato sauce, pasta sauce, or whatever you like with sauce. It's time for the pizza. Now we have our delicious tomato sauce, and we have two kinds of cheese. I will use mini mozzarella, which are like mozzarella balls. They are much better than the big balls, because in the small balls there are just a little bit of water compared to the big balls that are filled with water. This way you get a much more dense cheese. And of course Parmigiano Reggiano, which is the best cheese for a Neapolitan pizza. Let's start assembling. Take your dough and start making a circle out of the dough by starting in the middle and just letting it slowly fall to the ground. Just hold it, that's perfect. Just put a little bit of flour onto the surface. Yeah, this looks nice. And then put your pizza directly onto it. Nice. Stretch it a bit. Now take a big spoon and your tomato sauce and just leave a little bit of dip into the middle. Not that much, and start cycling. Start making a beautiful, beautiful pizza. This looks nice. Now, your pizza is covered. Now take your cheese, strain, take these balls and just rip them apart, like this. Just rip them apart. Throw them on your pizza at random spots. Just put as much cheese as you want to onto your pizza. Now take your Parmesan Reggiano and grind it onto the pizza directly, like so. And after that, I can recommend using just a splash of olive oil. Just a splash, not so much. Just take a small bowl and put a little bit of olive oil into it, and then just take your fingers or a small spoon, just cover the surface. This gives the pizza a little bit of extra Neapolitan flavor. And then finish your pizza off with a few basilicum leaves. Doesn't this look delicious? And just slide it into the oven. Open the oven and then just slide it. That's perfect. Close and finish. Now we will wait about 3 to 5 minutes and the pizza should be ready by then. Look at this. says ready, as you can see, and I could just taste it if it's not so good and tell you how good it is. But instead I will just ask my mother. Anne! Anne! Geh! Komm mal. So, oh yeah, we are not eating at the day because it's Ramadan. We have to first open our kobolds. The fast is opened, now we can eat. Tadına bak. Mükemmel.
Güzel güzel.
My mom says it tastes delicious. So, see you tomorrow with another video. Ja się 20 minut. Delicious.